Now, historically speaking, we believe that the Laodicean message is specifically for the church age from the time of 1844 up until Jesus' coming. It is pertinent for the last day people that are living upon the earth to understand the Laodicean message and apply it in our lives. Now, as we're looking at it physically, it was about 45 miles southeast of Philadelphia. This was the geographic location. Here's an aerial view of the ruins of Laodicea. It was a wealthy city. It was known for an extensive banking system, and it was a manufacturer of fine clothing, especially black. And so they were, kind of known for wearing black in Laodicea. That was their color of cloth that was manufactured there. Now the city was destroyed by an earthquake in AD 60, so utterly destroyed that it had to be completely rebuilt, and they were so wealthy that they actually refused imperial aid to do the rebuilding. They did that on their own dime, so to speak. Now they had within the city a prestigious medical school, and attached to the school was an eye medicine manufacturer called Colarium. And that just was where they would make this eye salve, and they would sell it. It was known in English, we would call it a little roll. That's how it was known. It was based on the package it was sold in. That's how the people knew about the eye salve. And so it was also known for its leisure, its pleasure, its entertainment. They had multiple stadiums and theaters. And what's interesting as you're studying Laodicea is that they had access through a irrigation system of both hot and cold water. Now, let me explain that a little bit further. So, a little bit, several kilometers away, there was a hot spring area known as Hierapolis, and they actually piped the water from these hot springs into Laodicea. So you can see some of the calcium and mineral deposits from the hot springs there. And through a series of a complex system, really, using gravity and siphon, they would use storage tanks, and all the way to Laodicea, you can find even today the remnants of this aqueduct system where they would bring this water there. But unfortunately, what starts out very hot, traveling several kilometers, by the time it gets to Laodicea, it's going to be lukewarm, right? Not hot anymore. The pastor just turned me on last night. I didn't even know this. Tyler was explaining to me that there was actually cold water that came to Laodicea as well. And so, coming from Colossae, which is about 8 miles away, they were piping the water. So, you can see in the picture there, this is Mount Cadmus, where Colossae was getting their fresh spring water that was fed by these snow capped mountains that would melt and then feed the springs. Well, they're piping the water from Colossae as well. But again, by the time it gets from that 8 mile journey to Laodicea, you don't have cold water anymore. You have lukewarm. Yeah. And because of the close proximity of Laodicea to Colossae, which is where we get the book of Colossians, right? They would actually share letters very frequently from the apostles because of the close distance. So you can see an example of that in Colossians chapter 4 and verse 16. It says, "Now, when this epistle is read among you, see that it is read also in the church of the Laodiceans, and that you likewise read the epistle from Laodicea." So they're sharing epistles back and forth because of the close distance there. Now, you can see just historically, from a historical perspective, just looking at it from that viewpoint, the word Laodicea means lukewarm. Well, they were getting lukewarm water, right, from both sources. They were proud and self sufficient, but Jesus says, "You know not," right? They're wealthy, but Jesus says, "You need the gold that I have." They had an eye institute of their own, but Jesus says that you should use his eye salve. And they're wearing black, and he said you should have on white, right? Now, here's an actual picture from the remnants of the church at Laodicea, and they've put it under roof as they're excavating there. So there's an actual, if you've ever wondered what do these early churches look like, there's the remnants of the church at Laodicea.